Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and especially my fellow Koreans living abroad. This is a special English broadcasting for Koreans overseas regarding the current dangerous military security situation on the Korean peninsula, especially with the title of North Korea's launch ultra-speed gliding vehicle launch, which seems to be so much dangerous to the security of Korean people living on the Korean peninsula. As everybody understands, North Korea launched another missile, possibly ballistic, into the East Sea Tuesday morning. The second launch in less than a week, in about 6 days. And the South Korean military detected the launch of a projectile from inland North Korea at 7:27 a.m. toward the sea off its east coast, according to Joint Chief of Staff. Later that day, the South Korean JCS, Joint Chief of Staff, said that the missile flew over 700 kilometers from Jagang province near the border with China at a top altitude of about 60 kilometers and a maximum speed of Mach 10, which is 10 times the speed of a sound, or around 7,672 miles per hour. As we all understand, about 6 days earlier, North Korea also launched a ballistic missile from Jagang province at the time toward its east coast, which Pyongyang claimed was hypersonic. It was its first weapons test this year. However, they had not shown any what international community showed on the launch of missile. International community tried to sanction North Korea by convening General Assembly consultative meeting with certain number of countries, to claim that North Korea should not again repeat this kind of a launch. However, some security analysts, said that North missile launches showed its, determination to expand its unlawful weapons capabilities, and such actions increase the risk of miscalculation and escalation and pose a significant threat to regional stability. That's what international community showed with great anxieties, concern. But how about the attitude of our leftist Moon Jae-in administration? To our regret, our government did not show a strong response to criticize North Korea's, mistakes this time by launching missiles. Instead, they just, showed concerns, and they just, showed a very soft attitude toward North Korea's such provocations. This is totally wrong. And as we all understand, despite such an imminent danger, the Moon Jae-in administration again showed a timid reaction. Soon, director of National Security Office at Blue House held an emergency meeting at the Blue House that morning, but only reiterated strong regret. What is a strong regret? What is a strong regret? Are they responsible for our people's lives, South Koreans' lives? Instead of saying strong regret, they should have criticized with more strong word, Also, President Moon Jae-in did not attend the meeting. It is shameful that the Supreme Commander of South Korean Army did not attend this kind of a National Security Council meeting in the Blue House. When North Korea fired the same type of hypersonic missiles last Wednesday, he attended a groundbreaking ceremony for railway construction to connect Gangneung and Jeojin in Gangwon province, the southern section of the Inter-Korean Railway, and he said peace, peace, peace instead of showing strong warning to the South Korean people that we are faced with dangerous military provocations of North Korean dictatorship, especially reckless military adventurism of Kim Jong-un regime, dictatorship regime in North Korea. And the military's explanation was also incomprehensible. It brushed off the missile fired on January 5th, saying it was not a hypersonic missile. To prove the authenticity of its description, North Korea has fired an even more serious missile this time. Upon detecting signs of a launch, the Ministry of National Defense can track the trajectory of those missiles through Air Force radar and the Navy's Aegis-equipped destroyers. Yet, however, the government dismissed the missile threat. How can the people trust their armed forces under such circumstances? Unbelievable. How is it different from the military methodical covering up of a sexual assault on the barracks? Similarities there between the two. And as we all understood the concerns of international community, in sharp contrast to our government, the international community paid special attention to the launch by discussing the issue in the UN Security Council meeting on Tuesday. The United Nations strictly bans North Korea from firing missiles using ballistic missile technology. In the meeting, 6 member countries, including the United States, United Kingdom, denounced the recalcitrant regime in Pyongyang for trying to expand its unlawful weapons capabilities. However, South Korea did not attend the meeting. How could this happen? Our government did not attend the meeting. Shameful. This must not have happened, but it had happened. This is a very, very sorry situation on the Korean Peninsula. This is a sins of leftist administration. North Korea's missile provocations are nothing new. It has been frequent in the past. But the Moon administration has been the Moon-jae-in administration has been hell-bent on improving inter-Korean relations and arranging an end-of-war declaration with concerned parties over the past 5 years. Crazy attitudes. What is the benefit of the declaration of the end of the Korean War? Nothing except the fact that North Koreans could take advantage of this symbolic political declaration, ultimately utilizing this kind of declaration, mobilizing pro-North Korean groups and pro-North Korean spies and some citizens in South Korea leaning more toward the North Korean regime, shouting, "No foreign troops on the Korean Peninsula. Americans go home." And no United Nations command on the Korean soil. Instead, only peace between the two Koreas based on nationalism. If this could happen in the future, I don't think the peace cannot exist as it has been in the past 70 years. Based on the balance of power concept, based on political realism, based on military realism, with the United States forces, preventing North Korea from attacking militarily to the South Korean people there. And I urge again, South Korean government must correct such a lax sense of security immediately. And it must tell the truth about the missile launch and devise effective countermeasures before it is too late for the safety of all the 52 million South Korean lives here. The speed of Mach 10, unbelievable. We don't have any military detection facilities, also deterring facilities. If that kind of missile flies with that kind of Mach 10 speed into the Korean soil. Can you imagine that? How our security could be destroyed with this kind of missile attack toward our people here? So this is the reason why international community, including the United Nations Security Council, condemns strongly and urging North Korea not to repeat this kind of military mistakes again. But if this kind of stances continue by the North Korean authorities, I don't think the South Korean people's lives will be kept safe and be protected by the military capabilities of our government, which is not ready as of now, because they are still showing very lax attitude toward North Korea, because they are sticking to unrealistic principles of peace by making contract, also showing some peace concept, instead of preparing militarily with more military measures based on concept of a military reciprocity, something like that. Despite North Korea launched this kind of ultra high speed missiles 2 times, what is our government doing? What is our leftist Moon Jae-in administration doing to prevent again in the future, to prevent North Korea from making similar assault on the Korean soil? This is a very, very serious question for the peace and the stability of the Korean Peninsula in the future. So, I'm urging again to our leftist Moon Jae-in administration to not utilize this kind of security issues for the political benefit of leftist regime, especially those Juche ideology factions, political benefit. Instead, serve the general interest of the Korean people's security interest. This is very important. Okay? So, my fellow citizens and living abroad and as well as on the Korean soil, we are living in a divided country, Korean Peninsula. We are not living in a unified, strong country like the United States, Japan, France, and United Kingdom. We must pay more attention to our security issues until unification is achieved and until our security interest is not eroded by those superpowers, which enjoys the division of the Korean Peninsula, and also sometimes making the political improvement on the Korean Peninsula very hard because of the division, because of the bad calculations of superpowers surrounding the Korean Peninsula. So I'm saying again that security issues is the most important issues as of now in a divided country. Of course, economic issues are very important, but before the presidential election on March 9th, I hope that the opposition party's candidate should say with more strong warning to the Korean public that security comes first, because of this is a vital issue for the survival of the Korean people. Okay? Thank you. I'll finish today's special English broadcasting and I will see you again. Thank you.